So I watched a lot of 2000 era WCW, and I know it was bad, but I enjoyed it. That thing was a little beat up, but for $3, there was no way I wasn't grabbing that. What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum, and over the last month, I've had a little more free time, and I've tried to be a little more intentional about finding cards in unconventional spots. I'm talking garage sales, consignment shops, flea markets. You might recognize it. This is a clip from the Webster video I put out not too long ago. Well, with most of these little places, I'm not shooting a lot of video because 9 times out of 10, I walk away empty-handed and there's just not much to show, if anything at all. But after making a final run this past weekend, I've got enough stuff filled up that I figured it was time to share. The footage you're looking at right now, I'm not even sure if this was technically a shop. It was kind of a back room of a store that had some bags and other stuff in the front. And then they said, yeah, we've got stuff in the back. And I go back there and there's these display cases that have got slab cards in them. They've all got prices on them. And then as you'll see here in just a moment, there was this whole section on the sidewall that had boxes. So you guys know that I love to do some digging. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up grabbing this stack of 7 cards for about $40. And the first two are actually parallels that I've talked about on the channel before. This is the Hoops Premium Teal Wave, which those can be very tough to come by. And it's nice to get a good player out of that too. I know I found I found one in a box at a shop earlier this summer, but it was Miles Bridges. So happy to get an SGA. This Westbrook here is actually the Prism Update Pink from Chronicles. So those are tough to come by, and I only knew that just from trying to track down the Halliburton. This is an early X-Fractor. Not necessarily worth a ton, but still a decent find. They're tough to track down. Nice Willie McCovey patch here. This is a Omega 2000 numbered card, numbered to 45 of Trevor Hoffman. Great player. This baseball stuff, though, just doesn't have a lot of value, unfortunately. Although this one here does. This Eric Milton, it's a late 90s Crusade, numbered to 100, and I think that one sells for about 15 bucks. And then I can't find a comp for this Pedro, but I felt pretty good about the buy for the price that I got it at. I think I'm going to end up asking about 30 or 35 for that at a show. And then there was another store that I really didn't get any video in. Not a lot of great finds there. I ended up grabbing 2 cards for about $7.50. Not a great deal, but I wanted to grab something. So I got this Kevin Millwood. This is the bronze, number to 100. And then I grabbed this Nick Aidenhart, numbered to 50. Some of his stuff does all right, and I couldn't find any comps for that one, so I thought I'd just take a chance at, a relatively minimal cost. All right, let's move on to the garage sales, and it seems like nobody is selling cards at garage sales anymore. I don't know. Maybe it was every single one of them that I went to. For the most part, I struck out, but I did have a nice basketball-related find at the last one I went to. Take a look at this bag here. That whole bag was $1. Well, what did I find inside? I had this purple Kobe Bryant Lego figurine. I've seen sales for that one between $40 and $50. There was an Allen Iverson that I didn't even see when I picked it up. I think there was a sale of $25 on that one on eBay. And then there was a Tracy McGrady as well. I did see that one in the bag. I think that one might go for a little bit under 10 bucks. Okay, next up we have the consignment shops, and there was a whole run of them in this little town called Plant City. There was also this jet there too. I don't know the purpose of that. I just thought it was cool, so I went ahead and took some footage. Unfortunately, they were blasting music in this main consignment shop that I went to, so you're not going to be able to hear any of the conversations or anything like that, but I'll do my best to provide some of the sights and sounds myself. Typically, when you go in these places, you're going to see more memorabilia than anything. I was surprised to see that Curry figure, but if you find cards, it's going to be stuff like this. That's a 1990 Donruss Rack Pack. I've seen plenty of those in my time, and I'm sure I'll see plenty more. So they also had these box sets here. You can see 1991 Donruss for $9. I think it was the same price on all of them. There's 89 tops. Go down here, you'll have 88 score, which really $9 isn't horrible for these. It's not something that I'd want to pick up, but not a horrible price relative to some stores I've seen. And then they also had certain players that were just individually boxed up for the same price. Next up, we had this run of quarterbacks here, mainly Tom Brady, but there was also this section of Patrick Mahomes and this fake Patrick Mahomes. Even Jesus got a good laugh out of that. Mrs. Wax Museum asked a good question. She said, "How do you know it's fake?" Well, for this one, if you look at it, it just kind of looks like a photocopy. And I'm sure if I would have asked to take it out of the case, then I would have been able to feel that as well. That's one of the benefits of, number one, just having seen a lot of 2017 Donruss, whether it be basketball or football, and then also just flipping through cheap boxes. A lot of times you get a feel for what cards should feel like, look like, etc., and it helps you when you run into stuff like this as well. This one, though, was never a question for me. The identity of this autographed ball here, however, was, I have no clue who this was. Get it right side up here. If you know who that is, I would love to find out. They also had this case here, and we'll scroll past this Sandy Koufax autograph. Go down here, there was a box down here that said 3 for $1. It was behind lock and key, though, so I had to ask somebody up front if I could go ahead and look through that. And once they did get back there, it was kind of awkward because they had to stand there and watch me go through those. So I didn't want to spend a ton of time going through it. But as it turns out, unfortunately, it was a lot of stuff I didn't want to spend a ton of time looking through anyway. Most of the nicer stuff here was in a set of cases up in the front corner of the store. So I'm going to try and take you through some of that. You saw there were a couple of Kobe cards up there. Nothing super rare, but there was a StarQuest Blue. And then this case here was mainly football. I don't know a lot about the football pricing, so I didn't really bother to check a lot of them either to see if there was anything worth picking up. I suppose if you're a football fan, there was something in there for you. And then also there was some wrestling down here, and then I think there was some baseball as well. This next case here kind of bummed me out a little bit, and you'll see exactly why here in just a moment. I'm going to zoom in on a trio of baseball autographs. I think the one in the middle was fine. It's hard to tell on the video here, but the ones on the outside were faded, and I think that's a direct result of being right by this front window. Now, some of the shiny stuff like that Luka Prism, it'll probably be all right, but I think that Jordan on the left was faded. I think the 75 Topps Bob Gibson unfortunately was as well. This case was a little more shielded from that front window. At least it wasn't directly in the sunlight, which is a good thing because it had a really nice 67 mantle in there. You can see there's some other nice vintage as well. I believe this booth was 15% off, so the price of that wasn't all that bad. I just obviously wasn't looking to go in there and spend that much on a 67 mantle today. I was hoping to find more basketball. You might have seen that Jordan Z-Force card in there. I think that was a PSA 7. There was also that Hoops Kobe card. Nothing that really stood out to me. And then I went through these boxes here when they came over with the key, and there really wasn't anything in there that stood out to me either. All in all, though, I was really impressed by the selection of cards at this location. Typically, it's just the junk wax sets like I showed you earlier. It isn't a lot of nice slab stuff, and certainly not a 67 mantle, so I was happy to see that. I didn't grab anything, but it kind of gives me hope that, hey, maybe this is a store that I need to go into every couple years because you just never know. And that's the way I'm going to treat this whole consignment and garage sale thing as well. So that's just a snapshot of what I've been doing every week this summer. I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, there are new episodes of the audio podcast that come out every Thursday. And as always, thanks for watching.